Family, what's happening? It's your favorite auntie with Uncle Tendencies, and I'm in the building with the coach. Now joining the conversation. If it's your first time here, welcome. Thank you for the support. Why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, like the videos, share the conversation, stay engaged, y'all. We still are on our push for 1,000 new subscribers on the page. Coach, good morning. What's happening? Talk to me.
Good morning. Just trying to take it all in, the speed of all of these games.
Yeah, them Warriors. You don't got to talk about it because we talk women's hoops, but you see him. We'll talk about it some other time, Coach. But I'm just saying, you see him.
We talking about that 9 seed?
9 seed on the way to a 6. Remember that I told you contenders now.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, lots going on. A lot of the tournaments are starting up in women's college basketball. Some ended. or do it that were that that was regular season, right?
What's that?
What you sent me yesterday with Texas and Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to them.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to them.
No, just excited. This is an exciting time. Like you said, this is an exciting time. Tournament starting up soon. Lots going on with the players starting to step up. I have some thoughts. We're gonna get into it, like you said, as far as like what's really going on in women's college basketball. It's heating up.
He ain't talking nothing about the tree though. He ain't talking nothing about the tree. He know that Big Ten. He know that Big Ten failed too. We're gonna talk about that. Matter of fact, let's go. Let's get started. Let's get started. Let's start right here. At this Big Ten. Mr. Iowa gonna win this Big Ten thing, right? Is that right, Coach? Huh? They coming to beat up on Ohio. JC Sheldon.
Yeah,
JC Sheldon dropped 22. She dropped 22. 15th straight win. Big Ten regular season title over Michigan. Cody McMahon, 18, 7 rebounds.
But this is the regular season, right? This isn't the tournament, right?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Okay.
You start off. You got to start somewhere. It was a revenge game too, so they was a little bit on a revenge tour because they took a loss in Michigan.
Yeah.
Back in December, but they ain't lost since. They haven't lost
the Big Ten tournament. I'm talking tournaments.
And Ohio State hasn't lost since.
They've been on a tear.
Now, I think you picked Iowa. Have they lost since December? Have they lost since December 30th? Let me know.
Yes, they have.
Okay, how many times?
I believe it's twice.
Okay, all right. I was just wondering. Listen, and the Wolverines didn't help their cause at all. Okay, they turned the ball over 29 times. Understand that?
Yeah, and you know what?
The Michigan Wolverines turned the ball over 29 times, y'all. Now, I'm not excusing that at all.
And let me say this:
29 times for 30 points. Okay,
I'm glad you said that. Yep.
They lead score at 13 points. Okay. Listen, but this is the first time. This is the first time Big Ten title outright since 2009, 2010 for Ohio. Okay.
Right.
They won it in 17-18, but the sanctions, it got in a little trouble up there. So.
I'm glad you said that because here's what we're going to do. Joining the conversation, we're not making any excuses for any teams that's lacing them up at this time of year. So was Michigan a real threat? No. And, I like Michigan. I love Michigan. I'm from Michigan. I'm pro Michigan sports, Michigan State, okay? But I'm not going to sit here and say, that's the reason. I'm not going to take anything away from Ohio State. They have won the regular season Big Ten championship. But as I stated, and I stand by, the Iowa Hawkeyes are going to win the Big Ten tournament. It's going to be a rematch. Yeah.
Serious question. Because I don't watch a lot of Big Ten hoops. And I think for the most part, for South Carolina, usually when they win the SEC regular season title, it usually transitions into an SEC tournament title. How many times in the Big Ten has the regular season champion been different from the tournament champion?
Do you know? Question. Are you
familiar? That's a serious question. I really was. I seriously was wondering.
That's a great question. We love to research during the
so we're gonna have to deep dive. We're gonna have to deep dive into that.
That's a good question. Thought you was gonna take
So
a shot at me.
no, I really want to know, like, and again, does the does that regular season championship mean a whole lot about when you're going into the playoffs? It's not something that really matters in the WNBA, the NBA. You don't win a regular.
Here's what
You know what I mean?
I
So
like neutral floors when you play because it kind of gives you a simulation of what's up. I have to check and see. I know for a minute they were kind of flirting with that as far as the neutral floors. So I need to look and see like where these tournament games are going to be at. Are they only transitioning to championship games somewhere? But I need to look at that too because I think that plays a role in it.
okay.
I think some teams are battle tested and can play on that neutral floor and show up and show out. So, but yeah, no, kudos. So, like I said, let me be clear to our family. I like Ohio State. I do. I picked them. I want to say I picked them in my Final Four, didn't I?
He said that. He said that about South Carolina, and he showed up with that purple shirt on, y'all. I'm just saying.
That's true.
I'm just saying. Sometimes because he like him, don't mean he cheering for him. I mean, let's not get that confused.
True.
The coach may like him. He may not pick him. That's for sure.
That is another great observation. I'm realistic, but I will say, hey, look, I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not here, like, yay, they going off. You're right. You know me well. So, hey, that's accurate. But I am realistic. And I'm just as hard on the teams that I support than the teams that if it's a team that's doing their thing, I'm gonna give them props. That's what it is. Now, am I gonna like giving them props? That's a whole other conversation. But I'm gonna give them props.
That's a good segue into these Big 12 champs because I've been talking about Texas. I've been talking about Texas for a few weeks.
You have
Texas for a few weeks.
Texas
lost this Big 12 championship, and so again, it goes back to my question: regular season championship, Big 12 championship. How do those correlate?
Yeah,
it was a last second.
In Oklahoma.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. 3-pointer with 4 seconds. But let's also be. That thing say back to back right there. Oklahoma been the champ, so they defended their regular season championship. Was it a foul? Was it not a foul? Did Booker get fouled? Did Booker not get fouled? I liked her answer. She said she don't know. She don't know if she got fouled. It ain't a foul unless it really ain't a foul unless the ref call it. That's how I look at it. Ain't now I might have got hit. That's different. I ain't get fouled unless they called it because that's what the foul is. The ref call it. But I like her answer. She'll learn from this, and like the coach said, the play just didn't break down how they wanted it to break down. She got a little bit too deep into the paint and then had nowhere to go, and that was kind of just it. Last second bang bang kind of play. That's going to be a good play for her to learn something from going into the Big 12 tournament and then into the into March. But without harming, I still feel like Texas is doing a damn good job. But I'm wondering if this last second loss and not winning the Big 12 championship, although because they had lost to Oklahoma earlier, I don't know if they really had a chance to catch Oklahoma because we had talked about that before. So I just want to know they've been playing kind of like a little above what people were expecting with Rory going down for the season, and I just want to know did this loss knock any of that shine off or knock any of that confidence off? You don't want to do any of that going into Big 12 championship and then into March, knowing that you're not going to have Rory coming back. You want these ladies going in as confident and as focused as possible. So I'm wondering about that for them. But what do you think, Coach?
I don't think it knocked any shine off of them. And let me say this: I think that your build-up throughout our shows has been how good Texas is, how they were kind of under the radar as a good team, a very good team. My stance on this is the game shouldn't have been that close. The way Texas has been playing. Now, it kind of leads to the point you made. Hey, Oklahoma says, look, we do this. We've done this last year. So, in typical, defending champ fashion, as evidenced by that game, when the pressure was on, they didn't fold. But again, Texas, the way they've been playing and tearing through women's college basketball for the past 2 months now, you would expect more out of them, and they should have had a bigger cushion. The game shouldn't have been that close. As a matter of fact, correct me if I'm wrong, Seth, but it was a comeback on Oklahoma's part. Texas was controlling that game. They were winning that game. So why was it even that close? Why did the coach step up and say what they said about what happened on the final play and all that? Because that coach knows, like, look, we were up at this game. They should have won that game. Let's be clear
Well,
about that.
I think
Texas should have won that
this I just think that this shows what the loss of a Rory Harmon does for a team. You know, this is those points that they would have been up.
12 points, but you up double digits.
Yeah, absolutely.
You up double digits, and I get it. I'm not refuting your point, which is a valid point, but I'm not going to sit here and let Texas off the hook when you're up double digits and you're playing the level that you're playing.
I'm not letting them off the hook, but I'm also saying that I feel like what they've been able to do has been on a great deal without Harmon behind what Booker's been able to do, and I expected the freshman was going to hit the wall, and I expected that the freshman was going to get to some excuse me, some situations that are new to her.
Yeah.
So I'm okay
I'm not
with that.
laughing at you, Seth.
No, you're good. I'm gonna let the freshman learn in the regular season, and my expectation is that she won't make that mistake going into the tournament. But I look at something like that, like Magic throwing the ball away, Isaiah throwing the ball away,
right?
Chris Webber calling timeout.
Why are you bringing up all stuff?
I'm just keeping it in Michigan. I know you're a Michigan kind of guy. I wanted to bring it back home to something you could relate to, and that's
that Isaiah pass still hurt. I remember being a little kid, like, no.
Hey, Zeke was like that too, but to see where Zeke was able to go after making a play like that. So
no, I get it. That's a good pull. No, that's a good pull, Seth. You live and you learn. And let me say this. I know this is very cliche. People are gonna say, "Oh, here come Coach again," but it's almost like I'd rather this happen to Texas now than versus one of those second round, third round teams. So now they know how it feels. You're up by double digits with about 5-6 minutes left in the game. Take care of business and close the game out, because on any given night, literally in the tournament, you can be sent home. I think the Big 12 tournament is going to be extremely competitive now. Texas is going to have a chip on their shoulder, and I can't wait to look at that data that you brought up as far as like regular season versus tournament. What's the correlation there? There has to be a few that didn't hold serve, but without looking at it, I think it's probably a very low percentage. I would predict a very low percentage of regular season that did not win their actual tournament. Which this is a new. Okay, hey family, let's be clear. This is still a new concept. These tournaments, okay, this is still fairly new with the tournaments. Some teams are coming into here saying, look, the only way we get to the tournament, the dance, is if we win. Those are the most dangerous teams in these conferences right now. The teams that are the teams that are not number one, not number two, but kind of like could have won a few games, lost by a few points, kind of on the bubble, but have the talent there. Those are the most dangerous teams in the women's college basketball tournaments.
They trying on their Cinderella slippers all over the nation right now. They trying them on. They trying to see if they can leave one on the step.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's a lot of these teams like that.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be some, there's going to be some there's going to be some I think some interesting matchups here. Because like you said, here's a team, and since we're talking about Big 12, just allow me a moment, Seth.
Yeah,
we didn't even talk about Kansas State. Kansas State only finished one game behind Texas. So, okay, was Kansas State going to be a 3 seed in the Big 12 tournament? They could, in the Big 12, they could very well. I mean, look, Kansas State 23-6 overall, 15-1 at home, 5-4 away. Now, what's hurting me is they lost 2 in a row. But and here's the thing too. You know what's interesting, Seth, about the Big 12? Oklahoma was on the 3-game winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
So they got hot at the right time. That's another thing that didn't bode well for Texas. Oklahoma was making a run. They like, hey, look, okay, Texas, you're challenging us and getting to your point. They knew that Texas was in their rearview mirror. They knew it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, they right here. We slip one time, we lose one game, they can win this regular season title.
I think
So,
what stuck out for me more about
mm-hmm,
Oklahoma was that Oklahoma was able to get this win
mm-hmm,
without their leading scorer doing anything.
mm-hmm.
Verhost, I don't know
For
if I'm
host,
not
yeah.
saying the name right. Verhost,
Mm-hmm.
6 points.
What,
I'm sorry, 6 of 20, 6 of 20 on shots, and
what's
that's
she
their
doing
lead.
on rebounds? What's she doing rebounds?
6 of 20, and she finished with 6 points on 2 of 10 shooting. I'm sorry, coach. I didn't even look at the rebounds,
Okay.
but 6 of 20, 6 points. Uh,
Yeah, that's a big stat right there. That's big. That's big. That's big.
uh, and I was wrong. Verhost mate was on the 6 of 10, 6 of 20 shots, and Van is the leading scorer that only had 6 points on 2 for 10 shooting. Excuse me, I wanted to correct that. So they had two players that really didn't show up. So I
Hmm.
don't know if a Rory Harmon makes a difference because they had beat Texas back in, was that December already
Hmm.
when they were uh
It was December.
no it was I'm sorry, it
I
was
thought
January. It was January. I think they beat
we must have
Texas.
talked about it in December because I remember we talked about big matchups coming up.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that game was for sure. I think it was January 24th actually, and then they beat Kansas State a week later. So
Mm.
they beat the 10, they beat the 2, and then they came back and beat uh,
Mm-hmm.
Texas again. But those are the only ranked teams that they beat this year.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting. It'll be an interesting watch. But just congratulations to them. Like you said, these conference tournaments are a new thing. Regular season champions and headed into the conference tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good segue into some of these teams that, well, coach. Let me clear that up. Coach got a few mid-major teams.
You just gonna admit yourself.
coach, coach got a few mid-major
I
teams
do.
that he think
I do.
that
I
he think
do.
gonna make some. He think gonna make some noise.
I
Now I
do.
might agree. I might agree with possibly one. But we gonna talk about it. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start
Okay,
it
let's
up.
go. All right, let's go. Okay,
We
so
start
look.
right here. We start
Okay.
right here.
Mm-hmm,
Unexpected
mm-hmm,
contenders.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Gonzaga
mm-hmm.
Bulldogs. Let me say
Okay.
this. Gonzaga
Mm-hmm,
Bulldogs, 28-2,
mm-hmm,
first in the WCC.
mm-hmm.
They're led by Yvonne Elgin. Y'all know I'll mess her name up.
Yeah, I think it's Jim.
Ejim. I'm
Jim.
sorry,
Yeah,
y'all.
it's EJIM.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
Kaylin Truong.
mm-hmm,
Them they two leaders. They got 22 wins in a row. They are 15-0 in the conference. They beat the brakes off Stanford. Listen, they
mm-hmm,
beat the brakes off Stanford.
mm-hmm.
But then they lost to Louisville and they lost to Washington State. And they only played 3 ranked teams. Coach, talk to me about them.
So I think you just segued into what it is. You're talking about a team. When you go from the top down, they have 5 players that could put up double digits in their sleep. And you mentioned one, Yvonne Ejim, Brianna Maxwell. You got Kayla Truong. They're twins, Kayleen Truong, and then you have Eliza Hollingsworth. Um, so I'm looking at the big numbers. The big numbers stand out to me. Eliza Hollingsworth, 21 blocks on the season. Yvonne Ejim, 29 blocks on the season. But Yvonne's averaging 20 points a game. And you got Brianna at 14, Kaylee at 14, 12, 11, 10. Here's what I'm saying. I told you about these mid-majors. The lights are going to be on. One thing about these mid-majors is that they're going to play their game because it's something new. It's a new concept to a lot of the heavy hitters in the tournament. Total points, they're obviously outscoring a lot of their opponents, but their 3-point percentage is shooting it at 40%. Now, that may not seem like a big number, but as a team shooting 40%, that's pretty big going into the tournament. And their shot selection is they move that ball. They move that ball a lot. They have a scoring margin of 22.3 over their opponents. Like you said, they didn't have the best strength of schedule, but hey, they're playing the teams that's in front of them. I think that this is the type of team that can grind it out, slow the game down, and they do have size and they do have experience. I think that this is the type of team that can catch a team by surprise. Um, First, second round, I could easily see them making it through those rounds by putting out some of those teams that were kind of like, hey, we made the tournament. We think we're better than we really are, and run into a buzzsaw like this. This is the type of team that can put them down. That's my thoughts as far as how they run their offense. They're going to run their plays. They're going to stick to their offense. They're not going to be rattled, and they have nothing to lose, literally. So those are my thoughts.
They don't got nothing to lose. They don't got nothing to lose.
Thoughts
Now,
on
I
Gonzaga.
thought you said there was experience, right?
Well, I'm talking about as far as like this season, the way they're playing their games, the way they're going through. Their roster, I think they have a couple seniors.
The roster, yeah. So here's the thing. Here's the thing, Coach. Before I say anything, this is what I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, are we talking about people that can really make a run in the tourney, or are we just talking about, you know, it's gonna be nice to see him in there?
I'm talking about the potential to upset somebody first round. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about where you're looking at the roster. I mean, you're looking at.
Okay,
You know,
I won't be so harsh then.
Yeah.
That's
you know
when,
how you.
that's when,
Okay. Look,
that's
let's
what
talk about.
that means. Like somebody might.
Let me let you into Coach Ro's college
That means
basketball game day. I have
somebody
several
might
devices on.
somebody might beat Jackson State. That's what that means. Come on.
No.
You said
Funny you
first
mentioned Jackson State because they were ranked mid-major too, and I was looking at there. I said, yeah, they're gonna get squashed.
You said first round. So I'm thinking about, you know, I've been seeing Alabama State catch a buzzsaw right at that first round.
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
Yeah, because they're gonna match Alabama State up with the
Let me hear your thoughts, so I make sure that I'm assessing.
Okay, what I'm saying
I want to make sure I'm assessing properly.
I'm saying this. You're looking at the little ticker, and you're looking at, Gonzaga's playing. Let's just pull a team out that's kind of like in between. Who pull one out? Let's see. Who might they end up playing, Seth? I'm trying to think.
No idea, but let's go with Creighton.
Yeah, okay. Creighton. No, it got to be somebody else. Let's say Michigan. Let's say they're playing Michigan. Okay. They made a tournament, they're playing Michigan. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, Gonzaga, yeah, right. That's a wash. They're gonna whoop them. That's Big Ten. And you're looking at the score and you're like, wait a minute, Gonzaga's up by 6. Oh, wait a minute. Gonzaga's up by 8. Wait a minute, are they gonna win this game? And they put somebody out. That's what I'm talking about, to upset a favorite in the first round. Now, this team, I think have the ability to win a couple of games in the tournament. Gonzaga. I do think Gonzaga can win a couple games in the tournament.
Listen, this was Coach's strongest. I went with his strongest one first because y'all got to understand when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about it from from analyzing the game, but also just from eye test, and also just from like pure being a player and knowing what it's like on game day. And just like, there's nothing you're gonna be able to do. It's too much athleticism over here. So when I'm looking at these teams, I'm always, and I got to get away from this. I'm always thinking about the team up against South Carolina. And so when I looked at Gonzaga, nice team, shoot a lot of threes. But if I was to get physical or to try to use some of my athleticism, I don't think they stand a chance against those teams. And that's the you know, the LSUs, the South Carolinas, the UConns. You know, they like a nice story up until a certain point, Sweet 16, maybe Elite 8. You know, something fun to watch. Good water cooler talk. And that's no disrespect to these ladies. It's just when you start to get into this tournament, and I'm starting to think about these dogs that I've seen this year. And I ain't watched a lot of Gonzaga. They might surprise me. But from what I was able to see and just doing this research, yeah, nice story up until around Sweet 16 or so.
So look, check it out. Now this in mock draft. This is not it. We're gonna cover this. They got Gonzaga as a 4 seed playing Stony Brook in the first round. That's a winnable game. Let's just say that's the playoff. I mean, that literally plays out.
They
But
playing
then,
a school sound like my first apartment
all
building.
right,
Come
well,
on.
hold on, but check
What?
it out. But hold on. Then it gets better. They
Oh
play
yeah,
the
okay.
winner of Drake and Baylor. Now I'm gonna go with Baylor. Again, this is all hypothetical. Baylor wins. Now Baylor, on paper, from what we've seen battle tested in the conference that they're in, should easily take care of Gonzaga, even though they're a lower seed. That's they will be projected as a 5 seed to Gonzaga's 4. But that's one of those games where I could see Gonzaga winning that game. And guess what? Now they're in the Sweet 16. So that's what I mean by some of these teams. Now, my other teams,
But see,
this
Coach
is yeah.
Baylor. But see, Baylor to me, Baylor is like a false threat in the sense that they right there all the time, and the school is there, and you talk about them. But have you really been scared of them since Brittany Griner left? No, not for real.
Okay, but hold on. So now we just kind of agreed on what I said. That's exactly what I mean. One of those teams where they're there, kind of not there, but you expect them to be the Gonzaga. I would. On paper, I'm looking at it like
okay, and so I think for me, Gonzaga is a hard one because the one thing that I know about Gonzaga is their men's team has been a Cinderella for so long, right? The Gonzaga was a Cinderella in the
that's
tournament
right.
for so long, right? Till they're not a Cinderella anymore. They're a respected team come tourney time if they've had a good season. Which leads me, which my point being, it's a basketball school.
Okay.
Nobody's talking about the South Carolina men, but the South Carolina men having a hell of a season this season. Both of them teams playing hella basketball down in South Carolina.
They are.
And so it might be, one is doing better at a certain point, but eventually a basketball school becomes a basketball school and ballers become ballers, right? Iron sharpen iron. So I say that to say, when I see Gonzaga's name, I know basketball school. They play real basketball over there. And they might not be contenders all the time, but a baller is a baller. And so against a school like a Baylor this season, it probably would be a toss up for me. That would be a harder pick for me on my bracket. Just because I wouldn't necessarily just expect a Baylor to beat a Gonzaga. I wouldn't. That wouldn't be my pick.
I thank you for saying this is a tough one because that's exactly why I wanted to have this conversation. They are a tough one. So look, again, we're still playing out of this bracket. We're just playing around here.
Yeah, for sure.
They're in the Sweet 16 now. The other 4 teams, okay, you got Stanford playing Lamar. That's a body bag. Stanford wins that. Nebraska, Mississippi State. Who cares? No disrespect to either team. But you're looking at
you're gonna stop disrespecting that basketball being played down there in Mississippi. They gonna make you respect them.
But think about it. This is the
wait. And Bree Wayne, I don't want to hear nothing about Mississippi State. Go ahead.
Right. But that's who you're potentially looking at right above them. So they could be in a Sweet 16 playing against one of those teams. You know what I mean? So this is one of those where, like you said,
I said that they dance stop about the Sweet 16 though. So I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But Gonzaga's a hard one because to me Gonzaga's a basketball school. So I don't know if they would qualify for me as like an unexpected contender.
Okay. All right. But my next one. Yeah.
So Princeton, 20-4, first in the Ivy Leagues. They're led by Caitlin Chen, Ellie Mitchell, Madison St. Rose, and Parker Hill with almost a block. Now, they lost to UCLA, Indiana. They beat Oklahoma. They only played 3 ranked teams, but then they also lost to Rhode Island and Columbia. When I looked at the tape on them, they ain't passed my eye test, coach. They didn't pass my eye test. I didn't see enough athleticism. I didn't see enough speed. Now, take it out and everybody spread around the 3-point line. Hey, if they on fire, they on fire. But lace it up, throw it up, and whatever it takes to go get it done, they can go get it done. I didn't see that in them. But you tell me, if I'm
Here we
wrong.
go. Here we go. Here we go. Now this, I love this one. Princeton. Now you mentioned Kaylin Chan, Madison
Mm-hmm.
St. Rose,
Mm-hmm.
Sky Belker, almost averages 10 points. Then you could
Well,
throw in
so I only just went down team leaders. So they team
right, right,
leader in
right,
points was Caitlin. So
right.
I didn't get
Sky
into
Belker
all
is
of them.
another one.
Okay.
And the reason why I wanted to mention Sky Belker is because of her rebounds. She gets a lot of defensive rebounds, about 33 different defensive rebounds. I mean, well, for that team. But here's the thing. One number that stood out to me, points per game, 70. Now people are probably like, why would you bring that out? Here comes that slow it down mentality. I agree. Watching Princeton play is quite boring. It's not exciting at all. But guess what Princeton does, as what they did to Oklahoma? They're going to make you play their style. They're going to make you play their slow it down. They're going to run their plays to a T. They're going to do the backdoor cut. They're going to spread you out to the 3-point line. And right now, playing our hypothetical game again, they had them in the mock draft as a 10 seed playing against my beloved Michigan State. Nasty 10 seed. The nasty 10, who throughout the years has been pretty successful in men's side, women's side of March Madness. So I'm looking at again, this team, they know they're not athletic, Seth. They know that. They're not going to try to come out here and try to be more athletic. You can't do that overnight. But what they're going to do is they're going to play their game. And they're going to slow it down. And they're going to make it ugly.
But Coach, you just threw Michigan State out there. Mm-hmm. Michigan State left their game on the floor, the game that they didn't beat Iowa. Michigan State hasn't been the same since they lost to Iowa in the last seconds.
Right.
So
all hypothetical, but I'm looking at it again, and this is my beloved Michigan State. That's how I introduced them.
Now beloved. He was a Michigan all-around guy. Now it's his beloved. Y'all got to watch Coach. Y'all got to watch Coach. Y'all got to watch Coach. Now, you saw how he said Michigan versus Michigan State. I'm just saying, watch that.
If this game really played out and they had Princeton playing against them, of course, I'm like, yes, let's go MSU, but I would be very nervous.
But he would have an orange shirt on, y'all. Y'all know how he do.
Orange undershirt. But look, I would be. No, you know what? I'll have some orange Kool-Aid. That's how I do that.
Y'all hear.
But look though, I would be very nervous about playing Princeton in the first round because again, they don't play downhill. They're not fast enough. They don't pound you down low because that's not their identity. They're just we're going to run our plays. They're going to use up almost every second of the shot clock, and then they're going to get a shot up. And the worst thing that can happen to a team playing against them is that they're making a high percentage of their shots because they're not going to score over 70 points a game. That's a known fact about them. But they're going to make you slow down. That's just how they play.
I'm probably picking them up. Full court, and I'm going to turn my defense up on them. I would turn my defense up on them. You're gonna have to you gonna spend a lot of that time on the other side of the court. I'm harassing. I'm being physical. I'm pushing you off your spot. You're not just gonna run your play on me, like. Coach.
Okay.
I don't think so. I mean,
look, they didn't win.
I mean, because I'm thinking about them, and I'm like, okay, what do they do with a Cardoso? What do they do with a Watkins?
Okay.
What do they?
All right.
What do they do with Chloe Kids?
Family, y'all gotta listen. See, Cess is doing this. Jedi mind trick again. Cess is going to use the absolute best team to compare these teams to have a litmus that that's not fair.
Because we're coming out. You come into the tournament to beat the best teams.
But South Carolina is an elite team.
Okay.
None of the teams that I'm bringing up could hold a candle to South Carolina. That's not.
Okay, so we don't have to bring up South Carolina.
Right.
What do they do with Angel Reese and Anissa Morrow?
We can't bring up LSU either.
They've been ranked. They just a 13.
As I started out,
I'm sorry. I take that back because LSU did just go to the top 10. Coach, I'm just giving you a hard time. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's like they could make noise with some of these man teams, the man teams, and I think it's interesting where the mock has them, which adds more parity to what we're doing here.
And I think the most important thing about them is that they could be potentially bracket busters, right?
Yes.
If you don't if you're not on the right side of luck with these teams. So
And I'm
I'm
so
just giving
glad you said
I'm just giving Coach a hard time. I definitely get
I'm
where he's
so
coming
glad you
from.
said that though, Seth, because how many times have we seen the game saying, wait a minute, how are they missing those shots? How did they normally do this? They normally do that. And let's just
Absolutely.
hypothetically, you guys, Caitlin Chin has an out of body experience and she going for 35, almost 40. People are like, who is the internet's blowing
But
up?
not
They
only that, I
Googling
mean,
her.
I mean, Steph had his Davidson run, right?
Absolutely. Now we got another one. Who's my man over at New Orleans? That's how I knew who he was. Played for Lehigh. McCollum. I didn't know who. I didn't even know where Lehigh was. I had no idea what that school existed. I didn't know where Davidson was.
It was like, But, I mean, and then you see him, it was like, okay, he might could do something. So, but it just took off from there. So, um, the thing about the tournament too that I want to make a point about is that some of these teams, and I was really just being funny about running your plays, because in a tournament, sometimes the best thing you can do is run your plays because you're really comfortable with that. You know it, muscle memory. You've done it repetitively over the season. So one of the best things and one of the most comfortable things that you can do is have the confidence to just run your plays. And so these teams, that'll be helpful for them, because some of these other teams who are more flash or more flair than substance, um, the lights might get a little too bright. It's a big
Thank
stage.
you.
It's a
Thank
big
you.
stage come March, right? So it's different when you're in the arena and it's full,
Right.
and it's only been 7 people at your games all season. Now it's full and it's a lot of noise being made.
Great
It's
point.
it's, it's different, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I was totally just being giving Coach a hard time.
That's all the time, family. Y'all know that. I'm so used to
On any,
it.
we say all the time, on any given day somebody can get you. You can be beat, but especially come tournament time. You come in, thinking,
And you know what, Seth? Let me say this. There's so many connections that we can go with this conversation, but let me just make this point, because I was thinking about this as going through the research and just catching up on sports last night. Now we see the genius of some of the great coaches in women's college basketball. Let me explain what I mean. Some of the genius coaches are putting the West Coast WAC teams on their schedule. They're putting the Ivy League teams on their schedule. They're putting mid majors on their schedule. Here, even if they don't play the best team from that league, they're putting. You may wonder, why are they playing this team? Well, they're looking at the styles. They're looking at how these teams operate. They're looking at how they move. They're looking at the flow. Like, okay, what's the rhythm of a team like this? Like, how would you attack? They're trying out new things and they're preparing their teams for the tournament. That's the genius, and to me, that's the attraction for me to the tournament. I love seeing style clashes. And some of these great coaches, this is why they do what they do, everybody. This is why they play some of these teams. So good point, Seth. I like the way that mesh together as far as some of these teams.
but Coach really get to pulling. He really get to pulling as this list go on. I'm just saying, there's some real pulls here, but I'm gonna let him go.
Drum roll. Is that Middle Tennessee?
Middle
Middle
Tennessee, the Blue
Tennessee.
Raiders,
Middle
23 and
Tennessee.
4, first
23
in
and
the
4. Mm-hmm.
first in the CUSA. They
Come
are
on.
led by Savannah Wheeler,
Mm-hmm.
Anastasia, and
Anastasia
Anastasia.
Boldiriva.
Yeah, I had no idea how to say that, y'all.
Anastasia
I was
Boldiriva. Mm-hmm.
AB,
Mm-hmm.
and Jalen Gregory leads
Mm-hmm.
in still. So they beat Tennessee, but they beat Tennessee when I believe Rakia Jackson was out hurt. But now they lost to Princeton, they lost to Michigan, they lost to Belmont, they lost to Grand Canyon, and it ain't a ranked team on their schedule. Coach,
Mm-hmm.
convince me.
Okay, so AB has 81 blocks. AB is going to be down in that paint, using all those fouls up. But like you mentioned, let's continue the list. You said Savannah Wheeler, AB. You also have Jalen Gregory averaging 12 points. You have Tamia Scott averaging 12 points. Then you have Courtney Whitson averaging 9 points. Well, almost 10 points. They share the ball quite a bit. They're 23-4 overall, 13-0 in their conference. Like you said, I get it. I get it. Their only losses are the teams that you just mentioned. Here's the number again: 71 points a game. They average 71 points a game. They're shooting right close to almost 40% from 3-point range. Not too impressive a thing like that, but this is another one of those teams that they're going to slow you down. They're going to grind it out. And I think that AB has something to say, something to prove in this tournament. I think that
she's gonna have to prove it for me. She's gonna have to prove it to me.
Yeah. You're gonna see AB come out. The bigs pass each other pretty well. Yep, go ahead.
Because she's coming in, and she's gonna be dealing with some ladies that are averaging double doubles. Cameron Brink, Angel Reese.
So again, having fun.
Camila Cardoso.
See. Okay, here it is.
I'm just saying, Coach. Who's on that side of the bracket? Who's on that side of the bracket?
Having fun with the mock draft. They have them at, wait for it, the nasty 10 seed again. They be playing against Duke. Okay.
Kara Lawson.
But guess who's right up under them as the 2 seed playing Albany, Iowa.
They not getting past Duke.
Wait a minute.
Kara Lawson?
Wait a minute.
They're not getting past Duke.
I've seen Duke lay some eggs now. I've seen Duke get very, very alligator arms tight.
Listen, you can sleep on Kara Lawson if you want to. I think she's turning the corner. They just had a big win. Duke gonna make some noise. Now, I'm not saying they going real far in the tournament, but they're gonna make some noise. And I don't think that Middle Tennessee is gonna beat Duke. Not if that's their first game.
That's right. Okay, right.
We'll see.
Saying that.
We'll see.
If
but
they shooting almost 45% from the floor as a team. Free throws would be a little better. They're almost at 80%. But again, I like this as a mid-major team because again, I like the way that they again run those plays, move that ball, and they're gonna grind it up. I think they're gonna grind.
Y'all know, Coach give more teams a chance than I do.
That's a fact.
Give more teams a chance than I do. So here's the last one. Here's the last one that he tried to convince me with. Let's talk about them. Fairfield. The Stags. Now they 24-1. First to the MAC. They are led by Megan Anderson.
Janelle Brown.
Janelle Brown. I'm just going across like points, rebounds, since I just give you the main leader, but they ain't beat nobody I recognize worth telling you about. They only loss was to Vanderbilt, and there was no ranked teams on the schedule. Coach, convince me.
Okay. So you mentioned Megan Anderson, you mentioned Janelle Brown, Katie Lamoureux at 10 points. You got Amina Selimovic at 9 points, and you got Kendall Magruder at almost 9 points. So Fairfield, you said that their loss was to Vanderbilt, right?
Only one loss to Vanderbilt.
Okay. What's your assessment on Vanderbilt?
I think it's a school that gets a lot more recognition on the name than with the product that they're putting on the floor right now. Can they be a basketball school at times? Absolutely. But right now, not really on my radar as a real threat or a quality win. Not just my opinion. No, nothing personal with Vanderbilt.
So here's what I think about Fairfield. This is one of those teams I was talking about where nobody knows next to anything about them. They probably didn't even play anybody from their conference. So anything that they're bringing from their team is brand new to whoever they play with. Now, in this mock bracket, this is the kind of game, if they're matched up against, where are they at in my mock bracket? Where are they at?
I just want to know, is this one of them teams that you can be like, you gonna eat that cornbread? That's all I want to know. Is this one of them teams? Is you gonna eat your cornbread? I want to know.
So let's ask. Here we're still having fun here.
Yeah, come on.
Mock draft, they're matched up against Indiana in the first round. So again, you're talking about a team. I just think it's fascinating that all of the teams we talked about so far are matched up against these teams, in my opinion, that are meh, meaning they got a name, they got a higher seed, but are they really going to just run these teams off the floor, or are they prone to having a brickology, missing shots that they shouldn't, missing a lot of shots that they normally make, getting frustrated on a neutral floor, lights are on, and end up getting popped by a team like Fairfield? I stand by this, Cess. I know you laughing at me, but I stand by this.
So you saying Fairfield gonna take somebody cornbread in the tournament?
I think they have a good chance of taking somebody's cornbread in the tournament.
Okay.
You come into this game with these lights, all of the other factors outside of who you're facing, the lights, the cameras, the action, they could take somebody's cornbread. Yes.
All right. I don't know.
Chat,
I don't know, y'all.
So hey, family chat, bring all the smoke. I'll be on there today. Bring it.
We're gonna talk some more about them. But don't listen. Mid majors, we considering everybody. We wanted to take a look at what teams maybe could. Coach. These were the ones he came up with. I couldn't think of more than Gonzaga, y'all. Really. And that's just not a knock on the mid majors. It's just, at the Y, they play basketball every day at 6:30. Every day at 6:30, they playing at the Y. But on Sunday they run at 4, because that's when the ballers come. I look at the tournament like that. Sunday at 4, and I'm looking at some of these teams he talking about is just 6:30 YMCA regular teams. That's all I'm saying.
That's actually a good illustration.
That's all I'm saying. They get every day running the mill team.
But sometimes at the 4 o'clock run,
sometimes they get a run at the 4 o'clock.
You have some people that come in there. They look like Woody. They look like Woody Harrelson, and 3, 4, or 5 Woody Harrelsons. They're like, who are these guys? And they come out there, and somebody that's had the greatest game in their life, but the other people don't know it. You know why? Because they don't know them, and they just making just about every shot they put up, even they boys, and they leave, even they part their team.
And I'm being real serious right here about this, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hard to surprise people in today's game.
Oh, we got to expand on that.
I think that there's so much coverage. Anybody that I want to see a highlight on, anybody that I want to know something about, when I type their name in, YouTube has something for me to be able to see about them, versus before social media and all of this coverage and building a brand and putting a tape out on everything. It's a tape of everything. Everybody putting out tapes, practice tapes, trick shot tapes. Like, it's so much tape that people are putting out just to build these brands that I think it's hard for players to show up and be a surprise if you really do your homework and are a student of the game. And that's what I mean by that.
But Cess, you played on a much higher level than I've ever imagined to play on. And is it not true that you can look at all the footage in the world, but when you're facing those people, it's a different ball game. Now
you might be a little bit. You may be a little bit.
Add 20,000 fans.
Now you may be a little bit faster than me, but I'm talking about, can you surprise me coming in? I'm gonna know, okay, that your tendencies, a 3-point shooter, like a slasher, good defense. I'm gonna know those things. I'm gonna see those things coming in. Now, whether or not you can deliver on the big stage is something else. I'm just talking about, can your game surprise me? If I'm doing my job, I should have seen some kind of tape on you somewhere at the college level.
But I like what you said. Doing your job. when the game starts. Seth, how many times have
Well,
we seen leave them
the
open? They're not
coaches,
gonna make that. Leave them open. They're not gonna make that. Wait a minute, they keep making it. We're not making it. Such in foul trouble. Ref, that's a
yeah,
bad call. Ref, this, that. Wait a minute, that was a bad. Wait, now two of our best players in foul trouble. What's going on here?
absolutely. Oh, yeah, all of those things can happen.
You know
I'm
what I'm
just saying. I'm just talking about, can he surprise me? Now, can there be some nuances in the game to throw things off? Refs a little quick with the whistle. The refs swallowing their whistle a little bit. Depth of perception in the gym is a little bit different, like at LSU. Those type of things can happen to throw a game off. But surprise me? No, I know you play every Wednesday at 6:30 at the Y, and I just seen the video on it. Now, am I gonna show up and deliver? So, just surprising me with your game. I don't think so. Get out there and you're a little stronger. Like Michael Jordan, I think ended up being stronger than people thought. Allen Iverson probably in real time is faster than people thought. Was quicker than people thought. Was a little bit twitchier than people thought. Right. So those things can surprise you, but your overall style of play, I think it's hard to surprise somebody nowadays because everybody putting their game on tape. Excuse me. But we got a few more minutes. Let's go ahead and talk free agency frenzy because it may be the most important thing that's going on in the WNBA because I don't know if anybody's showing up at the draft. I don't know if the teams are showing up at the draft. Y'all hear me? The way these kids dropping out this draft, I don't know. Free agency may be the only way to get a team in the WNBA, but let's talk about them. And let's start with the Chicago Sky, Coach, because and let's just say this. They've been active, okay? They've been active in 2024. They they had a fire sale in Chicago. They traded Kalia Copper, Morgan B, Michaela. Listen, y'all know I mess up names. Brianna Turner. They traded away the third pick for this year's draft, a 2026 first round pick, and a 2025 second round pick, and their rights to swap 2026 second round picks from the Phoenix Mercury. They signed
move up
Diamond,
to 3.
Yeah, move up to 3, and then they added Diamond DeShields, Lindsey Allen, and then they got a whole new staff. You got Teresa Witherspoon coming there as the head coach. She's got Crystal Robinson as the assistant. Teaspoon is coming in there as the coach. You got
boom.
Yeah, you got Crystal Robinson as the assistant coach and Jeff Pagliocca as the general manager. I probably messed his name up too, but so you just got you just redid everything in Chicago. It's like a rebrand. It's like a full rebrand. And coming into the season with Las Vegas being the juggernaut that it is, New York being the juggernaut that it is, some of these other teams making some of these other moves. Is Chicago doing enough to make some noise, or would they just be a nice stop on the trip? Like, if you want to see Las Vegas, go to Chicago if you're nearby. Or will they be something to turn on and take a look at? What do you think, Coach?
I think there'll be something to turn on and look at because I love the way they're putting their team together now. I think they understand and they know that right now they're trying to put together the future. They could be the recipients of getting an absolute gem in this draft because of all of the fallout, because of players that are not coming out. But here's what's interesting about that. If Kaylin Clark comes out, if Brink comes out, which are projected to be the top 2 picks, wouldn't it be great to have a Rakita in Chicago? I mean, wouldn't that be like a nice a building block?
Well, it would be great for Chicago, not so damn fun for Rakia, but I'm just saying.
You're right. But like you said, we're talking about.
Listen, listen. Chicago would be nice for Rakia in the sense that it's close enough to home that she probably would get a lot of support. But it probably would be a lot on Rakia. It probably would be a lot on Rakia in Chicago. The thing that I worry about Chicago is that they're not so far removed from being a champion in the league. Right? Chicago was just a champion in this league.
Right.
Right before Vegas went on their back-to-back run, was it Chicago? Okay.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, is Chicago a championship organization? Or did Candace Parker bring us championship to Chicago? And so, I say that to mean like, especially bringing in an entire new executive leadership team for the most part. Um, can they rinse and repeat? Can they build on that, or are they starting back at the beginning? Is my
No.
concern there?
I think we're looking at, and this is the comparison that I thought about when I was looking at them. They remind me of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the pros. Like if you're looking at their roster right now, their active roster, they only have one player that has 9 years or more, and that's Elizabeth Williams.
You mean Oklahoma this year, or when they went to the
I'm
finals?
talking about when they
Kevin
went to
Durant
the
and them?
finals, like that whole era
Oh,
when this man came in and he started with people were like, what are they doing? They collected the talent, and they stayed relevant for so many years. They had a little bit of a fall off when Westbrook was there and they started surrounding him or whatever, but they still were making the playoffs. I guess I'm looking at it here to say they're up to something to have one player 9 years or more, and
Coach,
the rest of their team. Yeah,
you got to give me some clarification though. Oklahoma, go back to Oklahoma. Are you saying that this team is going to be like Oklahoma when they went to the finals and lost to LeBron? So I'm talking about stacked up like Kevin Durant, James Harden, Westbrook.
No.
Are you talking about then, or are you talking about kind of like after that and all of that?
I'm talking about the
talent
whole
transitioned out, and you still had Westbrook there, and you had Paul.
Yes, I'm
PG
talking about the whole transition. I know for me watching that team, I'm looking like, oh, they're not going to do anything, but yet they continue to pop up. They continue to make playoffs. They were making moves. They were collecting young talent, and look at them now today. It's almost like, okay, so that's what I'm talking about. Thanks for that clarifying question. So yes, I'm talking about the process of making the moves. That's what I see with this team. Now, to answer your initial question, are they a championship team? I wouldn't go that far.
No, not championship team, championship organization. So, and I say that to say everybody thought that it was the Patriot way. And then Tom Brady left and they didn't do nothing in there.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so it wasn't so much about the Patriot way as much as it was about maybe Tom Brady being able to keep things cool. Right.
Yeah.
So was Candace Parker that vehicle to a championship, like where she was able to just keep things cool? Or is there really a championship type of mentality at this organization?
I think that's
and unfortunately, I don't think that they are a championship organization at this time.
Yeah,
so I think that right now coming in, Teresa Witherspoon is starting over, but I don't think that it will be a long turnaround. I think that she will demand excellence, and I think that she'll surround herself with some great talent and make some great decisions about personnel. But I think that they'll be building that championship mentality versus it already being there, because so many of the people that won championships there are gone. Is anybody left? I don't think anybody's left.
No, nobody's left. And if it is, it was somebody that was like a rookie that didn't get much time.
Right. All they can say is just like, I remember when, not like, they did anything. So that's the Chicago Sky for me. Now the Seattle Storm.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought them up.
Coming to play with Jewel Lloyd. You got Nneka Ogwumike and Skylar Diggins. Now, let me say this. I believe that Seattle thinks that Skylar Diggins is the Sue Bird replacement. I think that they think Skylar Diggins is going to replace Sue Bird.
You on fire today, Cess.
And I'm sorry, Skylar Diggins Smith. I don't mean any disrespect. I skip the hyphen sometimes because she's been Skylar Diggins for so long. But Skylar Diggins Smith, her pedigree speaks for itself. This is a 6-time All-Star, 4-time first-time All-WNBA selection, and a 2021 Olympian. Gets a bad rap sometimes, but Seattle may be a good fit for her, especially with Ogwumike and Jewel Lloyd. So it's going to be exciting to see what they can do in Seattle. The other thing is that they're the only thing going in Seattle as far as basketball. Seattle's such a great basketball city.
It's exciting, Cess, but here's the thing. My only concern is Seattle went all in and said, we're not trying to draft. They gave up everything. They're not picking until 32. They gave up everything. They leveraged everything. They're going for it now. Like you said, I love the way you laid this out because I agree. I think they believe that this team can compete for a championship by adding Skylar Diggins to Jewel Lloyd and having – I'm not going to try to pronounce her name. You making a face. I mess her name up all the time. But having
Nneka
NGO.
Agumake.
Yeah, Gooba K. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think that they feel they have a three-headed monster that can go in here and they can compete for a championship. I really think they believe that.
And here's the problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem with that. You're trying to take a three-headed monster in to see a five-headed killer.
Yep, I agree.
Now if you were trying to deal with Enescu and Stewie and John Quill, that's a three-headed monster versus a three-headed monster.
Yep.
But to deal with Las Vegas, I don't think you got enough fouls in Seattle
Yeah,
to
I
deal
agree.
with Las Vegas is bringing.
I agree,
But it
sis.
could be a very we don't know how the season will go. We don't know how trades will go, free agency, who's going where. Still a lot of stuff to be moved around. And then of course there's always that health factor. But even though they went all in, I think they made a mistake, and I don't think that they have enough.
I agree. I
To really
agree.
get there, especially not with the potential of the Caitlin Clarks coming in potentially if anybody shows up at the draft to end up at Indiana, or even a Rakia Jackson in Indiana with a Leah Boston gives them a different type of athleticism and a different type of attack. So I think that another thing is that Seattle's in the West, and I think that the West already just belongs to Las Vegas. And so,
Yep,
if
I
you
agree.
want to try to compete for a championship in the WNBA, you need to try to get to out of the West for sure, because I think they got that sold up.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
One more time, one more. The Los Angeles Sparks. Before I let the coach get out of here, listen, the dust from free agency settled, and I don't know, is there anything left in Los Angeles?
No.
Listen. Nneka Agumake leaving, just left them without a star. When was the last time the LA Sparks didn't have a star? But I'm gonna tell y'all this. I believe that the LA Sparks, and I say this all the time, is suffering from the Candace Parker curse. I take that back. Not the Candace Parker curse, the Derek Fisher curse. When Derek Fisher set Candace in the playoffs, that changed the whole trajectory of the future for LA to me.
Here's the thing. The only thing that stands out to me is this. I see some genius in what LA is doing, because LA has the number 3, the number 4. I'm sorry, the number 2, the number 4, and the number 8 pick, and throw in a number 34 pick. So we see what's interesting, that we went to two different extremes. We see a contrast of one team that said, I'm all in, forget the draft. And one team said, I'm all in, I'm getting new talent, and I'm going to rebuild over here.
But the only thing is that the team that's rebuilding is the LA Sparks. Now, do the same people that own the Sparks own the Lakers?
Do they?
Because they don't rebuild very well down there. They need a star in LA. So that's my concern with LA. I don't see a star there. I don't see a coach there. Nneka Agumake running out of there lets me know that it's a mess in LA. And I think LA needs to do like what Chicago did and clean house and get some new executive leadership in there and then go from there. But like I said, I think the Derek Fisher curse is in LA. He really disappointed me as a coach in women's hoops. But I digress. Coach, it's been real. I know you got to get out of here.
Yes.
We'll be live tonight for
the
selection show. We got South Carolina Gamecocks playing Arkansas tonight, so it's a Gamecock Thursday. I'll be live. Try to get the coach to hang out with us. But until next time, stay tuned. We'll talk soon. It's your favorite Auntie with Uncle Tendencies. I'm out.